It's time to blind read a manga again. This is when I look at manga properties that I've had no previous history with, don't do any research or reading ahead on, and give my in-the-moment reactions and opinions. There's a good chance I'll bring up something that gets resolved further down the line, but that's the fun of this project, to laugh at the noob. Today we're returning to Cardcaptor Sakura, the story of a magical girl tracking down and capturing cards that are also monsters. We're looking at Volume 3, which consists of chapters 11 through 14. So last time, Sakura, the girl quested with collecting all the Cloud cards, meets Seorin, a distant relative of the man who created those cards. Seorin is a pushy little jerk who doesn't believe Sakura is up to the task, despite pretty much owning him every time a Cloud card monster shows up. We also learned that adult teachers dating their students, who are little children, is incredibly romantic and not at all creepy. That was sarcasm. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but this is the internet, so yeah, I do not endorse this manga's portrayal of romantic adult-child relationships. But also there's some implied LGBT characters, so that's cool. So we open Volume 3 with Sakura rollerblading around town, wearing Louis Belcher's hat and a mostly deflated inner tube. She comes home to find her brother Toye getting a haircut from his best friend and Sakura's massive crush, Yukido. Yukido offers Sakura a haircut, and even if she doesn't need it, how can she say no to that kind of intimacy? As she sits in bliss and haircut heaven, a mysterious sunglass-wearing woman watches from the bushes. Elsewhere, a couple of Sakura's classmates are enjoying a day shopping when they see someone that looks an awful lot like Sakura roll up and knock over a display of penguin toys. They talk to Sakura about it at school the next day, but Sakura insists it wasn't her. When Sakura mentions getting a haircut from Yukido, Seorin freaks out. He's also crushing on Yukido, and his angry little gay heart can't stand the idea of Sakura getting his attention. This culminates in Seorin challenging Sakura to an intense badminton match. At least they find it intense. Everyone else just sees a cute little game between kids. Nobody wins, and it's not like there's anything on the line. Sakura spends the afternoon with her best friend and confidant Tomio, but as they chat, a girl who looks exactly like Sakura rides by on her roller skates. That's followed by Sakura's classmates, who ask why, oh why did you knock over stuff at the stationery store? Sakura insists that it wasn't her, and Tomio confirms her alibi, so she doesn't get in trouble, but this is clearly unsettling. That night, Sakura talks it over with Kiro, the Beanie Baby guardian of the Cloud cards. Kiro doesn't know who this imposter might be, but now that Sakura has collected 10 Cloud cards, she has enough to do a basic tarot reading. Sweet! A way for our characters to get answers without having to investigate and figure things out for themselves. Crossing my fingers that they don't just tarot card every mystery away from now on. Anyway, from the reading we learn a few things. 1. All the Cloud card monsters are aware of Sakura's presence by now, and know she's coming for them. 2. Whatever this doppelganger is, it holds traits of illusion, water, and shadow. And finally, its next target is Toye. And indeed, we cut to Toye on his bike, being approached by the doppelganger, creating our cliffhanger into chapter 12. This chapter opens with the doppelganger leading Toye into a local forest, claiming she lost something and needs her brother to help her find it. This results in the doppelganger tricking him to walking into the brush that is disguising a cliff, and down he goes. It's not tall enough to kill him, but he's hurt pretty badly. And yet, he's seemingly unfazed when the doppelganger reaches him. It turns out that Toye knew all along that this wasn't Sakura. Previous chapters have hinted at Toye having some affinity towards detecting spirits, and he figures that the doppelganger is a lost ghost, needing to find something so that it can move on to the afterlife. He's not quite right, but his dedication to helping little lost ghosts, even after falling off a cliff, is pretty endearing. Meanwhile, the real Sakura has been trying to track her brother down. She can sense the Cloud card up to a point, but the forest is full of spirit energy, and when she gets there, all the magic drowns out the doppelganger's signal. She's panicking, but then Seorin shows up with his magical cloud detecting compass. With Seorin in tow, Sakura flies into the scene and confronts the Cloud card, her brother having fallen unconscious. Sakura attacks the doppelganger, but nothing seems to work. It just stands there, looking sad about what it just did. It seems in order to revert it back to a card, Sakura is going to have to figure out its name. Using the clues from the tarot reading, she finally deduces that this must be the Mirror Cloud card. With the card named, it reverts to its magical form, apologizes to the unconscious Toye, and turns back into a card. Toye will be fine. His foot's in a cast, and based on the proportions on this image, his thighs have stretched an extra half meter, but he'll be fine. The chapter ends with cake. Lots and lots of cake. Which leads into chapter 13, which is also about cake. Tomio has invited Sakura over to her house for the first time ever, meaning we get to see her affluent living conditions. The giant rooms and Frank's 2,000-inch TV, Sakura is blown away by it all. Tomio's mother, Sonomi, is also there, which means we get more of Sonomi projecting her affections for Sakura's mother onto Sakura. And then some flashbacks about Sakura's parents that get Sonomi steamed over how much she hates Sakura's father. Wait, didn't we resolve this in the last volume? We see how Sakura's parents met, but we don't learn anything meaningful from this. We already knew their relationship was scandalous and not so great because of the age gap. We already knew that Sonomi hated this relationship. The fact that Sakura's parents met in a meet-cute doesn't add anything worthwhile. So after enjoying some cake and grown-ups projecting on them, Tomio reveals the main reason she invited Sakura over. See, she has this lockbox that won't open. Oh, she has the key, but any attempts to put it into the keyhole result in being flung out by a supernatural force. This requires Sakura's abilities, but you can't take on magic without a new costume, so Tomio breaks out this number, which I can only describe as the Matrix by way of lolly. Anyway, there's nothing to fight. This is a puzzle, not a monster, and our heroes soon figure out that this is the effect of the Shield Cloud card. And since swords and shields pair together, Sakura summons the sword card and draws the shield card out of the box. Now the box opens freely, revealing Sakura's mother's wedding bouquet that Sonomi caught during the wedding. As that wedding was nearly 2 decades ago, I think it's safe to say that those are plastic flowers. There's also a little pouch that belongs to Tomio, containing a little bunny eraser that Sakura gave to her the first time they met. Yeah, Tomio's got the gay real bad for Sakura. So that was kind of a nothing chapter. Slower, quieter parts of a story can be really necessary to allow breathing room between story beats and allow moments of warm fuzzies, but this manga is already 90% warm fuzzies, and you can still advance character and theme during these quiet moments. This chapter doesn't advance anything. It felt like a rerun with all that stuff with Sonomi. So, moving on to our last chapter, Sakura wakes up late for school, and in her rush to get there on time, almost drives her roller skates into a construction zone, so she's forced to detour past a Shinto shrine she's never seen before. She talks about the shrine with her classmates and learns that they sell protection charms that supposedly have multiple effects, including granting wishes for love. This gets both Sakura's and Sioren's attention, as magical charms could give them the edge on who gets to smell Yukito's shirts. Meanwhile, that mysterious sunglasses woman who's been cameoing over the last couple of chapters finally drops into the story. What an amazingly beautiful person! I guess, if you're into guitar picks. This is Mizuki Keo, the school's new math teacher, a wistful, mysterious sort of lady who seems to know more than she lets on. But we don't actually find out a lot about her in this chapter. My current theory is that she's made of Laffy Taffy. The Bayonetta proportions in this manga are something else. We do learn that Toei knows her. They have a history, and seeing as she's a teacher, and Toei is still a student, who wants to put money on more statutory rape in this manga's future? Anyway, Sakura, Tomio, and Sioren all arrive at the shrine with the intent to buy a charm, but as they're talking, reality begins to warp around them, shifting and reforming until the 3 kids find themselves at the entrance of a massive labyrinth. And that's the cliffhanger that ends Volume 3 of Cardcaptor Sakura. I find I have less to say here than I did the first 2 times. There are fewer plot developments and revelations in these 4 chapters, and the one major one we do get, the new math teacher, is only just getting started. The series has really dialed back on the action set pieces, which they just were not good at, in favor of more puzzle and emotional problems, which I welcome. But that comes with the trade-off of these weird age difference relationships. Speaking of, the manga is really starting to overemphasize character relationships without moving them forward. We're reminded that Sakura is crushing on Yukito, Sioren is crushing on Yukito, Tomio is crushing on Sakura, and Sonomi is projecting her crush on her cousin onto a 4th grader. But you can't just have crushes going on for eternity. Things gotta start happening. It's still a warm fuzzy blanket of a magical girl story, but for this handful of chapters, warm fuzzies was all it had. I'll take it as a change of pace, but hopefully things pick up for Volume 4.